Hello lovely people, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Lou, I'm a Manchester United fan. First of all, if you can hear a strange noise in the background, I just want to let you know that is the lawnmower because it is Ireland and winter is coming, and I'm sorry, but the grass getting cut waits for no man and no football and no YouTube video. So if you can hear that noise in the background, I'm very sorry. Hopefully it's not too loud or too distracting. Today what I would like to talk to you about is Jadon Sancho. Now, like is potentially a strong word in that sentence, but it just feels to me that Jadon Sancho has become the forgotten man. Maybe that is because we want to forget about him, but as it stands, he is still a Manchester United player, so I think it's something that we need to talk about. We hear about Marcus Rashford, we hear about Alejandro Garnacho. There is nothing, radio silence for the most part, about Jadon Sancho, other than the fear maybe he was going to get sent back in January. We have been told that that's not the case. There is no break clause in his current loan with Aston Villa, so he's absolutely not coming back to us until the summer, at which point his contract ends anyway. So we'll get into all that at the end, but I just wanted to have a little bit of a look at how did we get here with Jadon Sancho moving from being a freedom fighter to the forgotten man. So he actually played in Watford and Manchester City's youth academies. He went from Manchester City to Borussia Dortmund, where he was absolutely fantastic. He was one of the next big things to happen in football. Everybody was clamouring for him. There was so much smoke, so much noise, and Manchester United went. It took us a little bit of time in true Manchester United fashion, but he did sign for the club in 2021 while Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was still our manager. He came in with all the furore. Most of the fans that knew anything about him were absolutely delighted with this signing, and to say that he was underwhelming doesn't do it justice. It was such a disappointment. After all the excitement that we had going into this transfer, it was so disappointing. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did not stay in his position as Manchester United manager. He was replaced by Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag had a difficult relationship with Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho seemed to be going through a really tough time. He was given 3 months off, so from September 2023 to January 2024, Jadon Sancho was given 3 months off, away from the club, away from the team, in something that was really unprecedented because it wasn't a physical injury that we're aware of that led to him having this time off. There's been lots and lots of speculation of all the different reasons. One of the ideas that was put out there that was potentially he was struggling with his mental health. I don't really want to delve into that. It's such a sensitive topic for people, and as far as I'm concerned, a physical injury and a mental injury are as bad as each other, and they would both inhibit a player's ability to play. So in an unprecedented move, Manchester United and Erik ten Hag made the decision to allow Jadon Sancho 3 months away from the club in order to try and get himself back on track. Unfortunately, that didn't seem to do the trick, and in January of 2024, Jadon Sancho went out on loan back to Borussia Dortmund, and I suppose this was another tactic to try and bring him back into himself, send him back to the team that had essentially made him what he was, and hopefully he can get back to himself in a way. That was not the case. So Jadon Sancho did come back to Manchester United at the end of his loan at the start of the 24-25 season. Dortmund, for some reason, even though they loved him to bits and he was the best thing ever, couldn't find the money to buy him back from us, so they wanted him but not enough to pay for him, which is interesting. So eventually it was organised that he would go out on loan. He went on loan to Chelsea for the 24-25 season, and at the end of that they controversially triggered a clause in his obligation to buy, and they paid us so they could send him back. Now this caused a whole heap of thing, because obviously obligation would imply that they're obliged to buy him. They don't have a choice. They must buy him. So for United fans to then find out that actually, no, they could pay to get out of this, and what they had to pay was as little as 5 million compared to what they would have had to pay if they were buying him. The percentages was tiny. It was just a poorly thought out obligation to buy, and it was a poorly executed obligation to buy. But imagine being so much trouble and so much hassle and doing so poorly on your loan that the team that you're loaned out to would rather pay to give you back than keep you. If that doesn't tell you enough about Jadon Sancho, I don't know what will. Now, obviously, part of what fed into that was possibly the notorious freedom comment, because that happened in February of 2024 while he was still on his loan with Chelsea. Chelsea obviously didn't want any of that drama. They have enough going on at the moment. They've already got, still the tail end of the Abramovich. They're selling their clubs and their women's teams to themselves and their companies. They have enough going on. They don't need a freedom fighter out there fighting the good fight on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere else. It's a kind of drama that they just don't need. Obviously, if he was performing well on the pitch, I'm sure they might have made an allowance, but he wasn't even performing on the pitch. So there was just no sense to them keeping him, but I just can't imagine the embarrassment of somebody paying not to keep you. So Jadon Sancho, back to Manchester United. Obviously, there was so much water under the bridge at this stage. He just wasn't going to be staying with us, but his contract was continuing. His wages are quite high. We weren't going to leave him sitting on the bench. So we have now, for this season, for the 25-26 season, it was organised that he would go out on loan to Aston Villa under Unai Emery. Now, I found that quite curious at the time when it happened, because Unai Emery is a bit of a no-nonsense type of a manager. He's not somebody to suffer fools gladly, and to be honest, when at the time we were discussing this in the summer, I thought that Garnacho would be a much, much better fit for Aston Villa as a team and for Unai Emery as a manager. I felt Unai Emery could really, really maybe get the best out of him. That's not how it happened. And so we had Jadon Sancho go to Aston Villa under Unai Emery. So I was like, okay, that's a curious combination. It's not one that I personally see working, but who am I? I'm just a fan. I'm not one of the experts. I don't know. There's whole teams of people that organise these loans. Obviously, they know what they're doing, right? So let's take a look at Jadon Sancho's time at Aston Villa since he joined them for the 25-26 season. He has played in a total of 3 matches this season, okay? He has played a grand total of 69 minutes in the Premier League this season. Now, we've had 10 matches so far. He was unavailable for one of those matches because he was injured, I believe it was. So say out of 9 matches, 810 minutes, Jadon Sancho has played 69. That's low. That is not a lot of minutes. He has no goals. He has no assists. It is not going well. And what I would just say, the one that really, really stood out to me when I was looking at this, in the Manchester City game, he was subbed on in the 29th minute. He was then subbed back off in the same game in the 74th minute. On in the 29th, off in the 74th. It going from bad to worse. So, I would imagine it is unlikely Aston Villa are going to want to keep Jadon Sancho or purchase Jadon Sancho at the end of this loan. An extra factor, as I mentioned earlier, Jadon Sancho's contract ends with Manchester United in 2026. Manchester United, as they normally do in their contracts, have the option to extend that by 1 year. Now, I have seen 2 different arguments on this. Let him go. Take the hit. Don't worry about getting a fee selling him. We just need him off the books, get rid of his wages. Nobody's going to want to buy him after these 3 disastrous loans. And nobody's going to want to loan him because he's getting a reputation now for just Chelsea's paying to send him back and Villa don't even want him on the pitch. So how are you ever going to make money from that? The other side of it are the people saying, well, no, somebody is going to pay some money for him. Somebody will buy Jadon Sancho. Maybe not in the Premier League, but somebody's going to find some euros or pounds under the sofa. They're going to buy, like, he's a talent. He's just not been used properly. Maybe he just doesn't suit the Premier League. He's not been playing under the right managers. But Jadon Sancho is a talent. You don't have what we saw him do at Borussia Dortmund and lose it completely. If he finds the right club and the right manager, he can be good again, and somebody will pay a fee to take that chance. If we extend the contract, we offer ourselves the opportunity to get a fee by selling him. Now, Before the loan started with Aston Villa, I was kind of on the side of, okay, we could extend it. Somebody will pay a fee from a little bit of money in the kitty is better than no money in the kitty. Let's see what we can do. From his loan at Aston Villa and how disastrous it's been, I have moved to the other side of the fence. I don't care about getting a fee. I care about him not being a Manchester United player anymore. I don't think there's enough money for the risk. Imagine we extend his contract on his massive wages. Nobody wants him. We're still paying him, and then we don't get a fee anyway. We've just paid him an extra year of wages. So I'm at the point now where I'm like, do you know what? Get him out. Get him out. It's worth taking the hit on a potential fee that we might or might not get to just get him and his attitude out of the club. I don't dispute that Jadon Sancho has talent. He is a talented player. Jadon Sancho's problem is Jadon Sancho and his attitude and who he surrounds himself with and his lack of professionalism. And I hope that he is getting to the age where he is going to realise that before it's too late and he has wasted his whole career. I hope somebody gets a hold of him and they give him just a wee shake and they say, Jadon, get it together and do not waste the talent that you have. There are people all over the world who would give anything to have your talent, who would give anything to have the opportunity that you have, and you are wasting it. See what you're doing before it's too late. Grab the opportunity while you still have it and get your head down because you have got the talent. Anyway, get your comments in the section down below. Are you a Villa fan? Would you want to keep him? Why is he not getting so many minutes there? What do you think is going wrong with him for this loan? Are you a Manchester United fan? Would you extend his contract? Do you just want him off the books? Are you a fan, completely neutral to this situation, looking at it from the outside in? What do you think Manchester United and Villa should be doing? What do you think went wrong with Jadon Sancho? I am sure many of you think that at least part of this is Manchester United's fault, but we do know he was having these problems at both Borussia Dortmund and at Manchester City. So we can't totally blame Manchester United for this one. Please get your comments down below. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let me know if there's another player that you would like me to take a look at in the next video. And have a lovely